I'm back here with Lindsay Hextall, and I'd like to talk a little bit about HyLife now. I know you've done a lot of work in prevention regarding COVID. Tell us a little bit about some demographics about the plant out there to start with, and maybe go on with what you've done for prevention.
Sure. So I think most people in the community are aware of HyLife, right? We're one of the major employers in Nicowa and the surrounding communities as well. We have about 1,500 to 1,600 employees at our plant, and one of the things that we're continuously looking at is how do we continue to keep them safe, and how do we continue to let them have confidence coming to work. So we have a fulsome COVID prevention plan that we have been executing, really since March, when all this really came to light. So as with everything, this prevention plan has been changing, and we're continuously looking for the most effective preventative COVID measures that we can possibly have at the plant to protect our employees, our animals, and our communities. We have a long list of things. I'll maybe just highlight a few things that have been super effective for us. As with many businesses, before an employee or anyone comes onto the plant, we do our health checks. So that involves a series of questions, many similar to what you've seen public health put out there for businesses to follow. We do make sure that we're asking the right things every day with the changing environment. We also have thermal scanning for temperatures to make sure that employees, if they have a high temperature, are not coming into the plant. Anybody sick doesn't come into the plant, and we send them home. If someone has to go home or be tested for COVID, we make sure that we're financially supporting them and that they have all the resources that they could possibly need to be able to stay home, to self-isolate, and to protect their families and our employees and the rest of the community.
Have the government programs that they've offered up for support, for wage support and that, been useful for your plant at all?
Yes, some of them have been for sure, and most of the investment obviously comes up front from the company. And then we work with the government on anything we possibly can to make sure that we can do more and more to support our employees. So the other pieces that we've invested in is something called electronic contact tracing. So all of our employees, they wear a little fob when they're at the plant. So in the event that we needed to know who had contact with who within that 6 feet measure, and we use a 10 minutes measure, we could immediately pull that data. And so we know exactly where people are and who they've had contact with. So that's an incredibly effective measure that we have if we need to access that information. And we're probably one of the few employers doing that right now, just due to our sheer size.
So that's kind of similar like the app, is it? Like the government?
A little bit, for sure. With the new app that just came out,
conceptually
we're encouraging people to use it, but this is much more concise, right?
Of course.
So it's exactly where you were. If you're at the cafeteria, we know who you're eating beside, stuff like that, but it only runs while you're at the plant, right? We have that's the only time. After that, it's up to everybody else to continue to follow what our culture is inside the plant and take that out to their homes and their community.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, it's
I never
really
even
great.
thought of that. Wow, who thought? I bet you thought of it.
No, I would love to take the credit, but no, it definitely wasn't me. But part of the team, we have such a great team at HyLife, and the ideas have come from everywhere, right? And it really has taken a collective effort to be able to keep our plant safe. And we're very proud of that because, as you've seen our industry, there are lots of industry partners who have had COVID hit them hard, right? And so that's why we take this so seriously, and we're so committed to making sure we have the right measures in place.
Well, and your employees are on board with all of it too.
They definitely are, yeah.
You can feel that in the community, and I'm sure you can out at the plant too.
Yeah, the preventative culture is amazing. So as soon as somebody comes on our property, you have to have a mask on, right? Even if you're outside. So everybody has that PPE all the time. Whether they're on the floor or in the parking lot or in the cafeteria, walking around, we always want to make sure people have their masks on the floor. We have face shields for everybody, gloves where they need. They're all in smocks when they need to be as well.
So have you had to cut down the number of people in a shift or anything of that nature?
No, we have not. So that's another thing we've been very proud of, to maintain our labor force. Right. In fact, we did some hiring when we first started. Like a lot of industry, we had lots of people absent, but our employees have been super dedicated. They're following the restrictions that they have implemented on them if they do have to self-isolate, and we're getting them back to work as safely and as effectively and quickly as possible to maintain the labor force, because we want to make sure our business stays,
Absolutely.
We want to keep things going. We have a lot of people that depend on us, and that's our commitment, is to make sure they can keep coming to the plant every day and work their shift.
The people I've spoken to in the community are very impressed with what HyLife is doing. I mean, there has not been a case in Nicowa, And we're a prime possibility with the large workforce that you have out at HyLife, and the reasonably close quarters that they work and so on. So I just kudos immensely to you and everybody else at HyLife that's organized that, and to all the employees as well for stepping up and stepping in and grabbing hold of the program. It's really been great, a super exciting story for us to tell.
And we thank our employees so much, and obviously our company and our executives just for committing to this. If we don't, we're not leading the way. We want to be the leaders, and we want to make sure that we're strong partners in this community. We brought in other, really effective measures such as stereo wave treatments, which our employees get every week. So it's a nasal disinfection piece that helps to minimize virus.
That was in the newspaper, the banner press a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I can't remember when it ran, but it was there, and it's another thing that HyLife is committed to, right? And our employees have really jumped on it, and they're doing everything they can. It just shows if you come for your weekly treatment, you're doing one more thing to help protect yourself and who you're being safe for again, right? Their children, their families, their parents, and the rest of the workforce, right? So everyone's jumped in together.
A lot of your employees have children, and a lot of those children are in the schools, and we were able to open the schools a month ago, and they've been doing reasonably well. I did an interview with Jason Young, the superintendent, there last week, and everybody's keeping their fingers crossed and working hard that we're going to get through this without any major difficulties in the Nicoa area. So.
Another piece in our COVID response planning was to make sure that we had the right medical advice given to us as a company. Are we doing the right thing? So the partnerships with public health and their ability to meet with us and talk us through any prevention measures has been invaluable. We also engaged a public health expert who we've kept on staff permanently right from the beginning of COVID onset. And Dr. Judy, I call her, she's been immensely helpful with this for us from a public health epi perspective. And we've also engaged with one of the regional MOHs, Dr. Rusk, so he's been helping us as well. So that as we implement treatments like stereo wave, and we're doing, we're measuring temperatures and all those things, we're making the right decisions. And having the medical community give us advice and make sure that we're being transparent and we're partnering with Manitoba Public Health or making sure we're doing the right things has been very important to us. And so when when our employees call Health Links and they're told to self-isolate or they need to go for testing, we support them through that. Because at any given time, we could have 50 to 70 people off in a day. It all depends on what happened with COVID that week, right? So we make sure that they're supported in their wages, and that if they need support, mental health wise, we want to make sure we're doing the right thing. So we've had mental health videos done by a professional as well. So we're really reaching into different pieces of the expertise that are out there around COVID to make sure we're doing the right things.
Want to thank you very much for coming today and giving us a bit of an update and some information about HyLife.
Anytime, David. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Bye.